All right, my guest tonight in Los Angeles, editor for IGN TV, Eric Goldman joins us, and in New York, producer and director of the online series We Need Girlfriends, Brian Amiot joins us. Welcome to The Loop, everybody. Now tonight, as we said, it marks a milestone in network programming when Quarter Life becomes the first show to really make the leap from the internet to network television. So Eric, we'll start this off with you. I mean, do you think this is a sign of things to come, or is this just the result of a writer's strike and the network scrambling for some new programming?
It's a little bit of both. I mean, this specific situation is because of the strike, I think. I mean, they just knew that they weren't going to have any scripted shows on the air at this moment. And here they had a completed series from some very established producers they could put on the air. That being said, I do think there will be other examples of shows like this happening. We're already seeing a couple. But I don't think it's going to be a huge shift where suddenly we're getting a million internet shows on the air.
Right. But, Brian, what about this show being a success? I mean, how important is that? I mean, if it takes off, could that then be a boon for the internet when it comes to actually distributing content on a network basis?
You know, I think that it's important for it to be a success, but I think it's more important really just to look at the show and you know, see if it's a good show and have it judged just as a television show, because I don't think that we have to look at everything as being so exclusive. This is only internet, this is only television. I think we need to just judge it on the show. Is this a good show that people want to watch?
Eric, would you agree with that? I mean, I think some people think the whole appeal of Quarter Life is the fact that it was sort of this internet show, and hey, look, now it's made it to the big times.
It might get some curiosity factor for that, but, you know, I kind of like what Brian said. It's going to live or die based on the quality of the show itself and also how much buzz it can get already having on the internet, but now being on TV, will people come to it? So
Sure.
I don't think just being an internet show is going to be, you know, suddenly everyone's going, we have to check this out.
Right. And Brian, you know, and to that point, some people say, well, yeah, it's got views on the internet, but it even with the total amount of views, it still pales in comparison to some network shows. But isn't that just a fault of the distribution method and the promo machine that it didn't have online?
You know, I think it's something that you know, shows can do well if they're promoted really well online. But also, I think more important is to see how many repeat viewers it gets. Are people coming back? Are people
Right.
telling their friends? And seeing what the comments are, seeing the word of mouth. And I think that that's almost more important than just the sheer numbers. Because sometimes on the internet, it's just hard to find a show because there's so much out there right now.
Absolutely. And now, you know, Quarter Life tries to embody like today's internet culture. It's got a cast of overly pretty 20-somethings. They spend all their free time capturing their lives on webcams and blogs. And so, Eric, I'm wondering, do you think that the Hollywood mindset that everyone needs to talk like a character straight out of Juno, is that going to backfire for the show or for audiences?
It could to some extent. I mean, obviously, there's a little bit of a precious thing to the show. It's a little cutesy with the way she's doing the blogging. I do like the show. I think it's well done, but I can see how that would turn off some potential viewers who, you know, the kind of people who hated the characters in Cloverfield. They might say, this is more the same. I don't really care about these people.
Right. Now, Brian, earlier you said that this was a show made by some pretty serious people. I mean, it's not exactly a show made by the internet for the internet. I mean, it's by the people behind My So-Called Life and 30-something. So do you think that should matter when people call this a creation of the internet?
Yeah, well, I think the thing is, I almost think that this show was kind of inspired more by the internet. I think that there were non-professionals out there that were making shows and had been making shows for a time before this came along. So I sort of think this show wouldn't have happened if it wasn't not really just about the internet, but if it wasn't for these other non-professionals that were just going out and trying to make shows, and they kind of saw at first that this is a way to get people to see content. This is a way to get people talking and watching.
Right. And we're seeing more and more of these deals every day as well, like when a network goes out and tries to get in bed with the series of tubes that's the internet. I mean, Carson Daly signed a YouTube star, MTV snagged College Humor for a TV show. Brian, I know your online show, the We Need Girlfriends, was picked up by CBS back in November. So what advice do you give to online content creators to actually attract that attention in this day and age?
I mean, really, I think the best advice is really work hard, work on your story, work on your characters. I think the great thing is you can be a storyteller, and the internet is kind of like the new film festival. I came out of a filmmaking background, and you can only really get stuff seen at film festivals, but now you can put it on the internet and everyone can see it. So,
right. But the fact that it's an online show isn't enough on its own to make it that appealing to these people anymore, right? Like that those days are gone.
Right. Yeah, I think that anybody can put anything online, and since you don't need big stars or something like that to get someone to see it, then it's really about the story. It's really about making a good show and making something people want to come back and see.
All right, Eric, I want to give you the final word here. When it comes to Quarter Life, I mean, I've seen the promos. We've heard about the online numbers and hits. Is this thing actually going to be successful, though?
I don't see it being a big breakout hit. First of all, it's on the wrong network, I think, for this kind of show. You're talking about NBC, who right now is going crazy remaking things like Knight Rider and American Gladiators.
Right.
I don't see a show about a bunch of 20-somethings and their earnest drama taking off there. Maybe if it was on the CW or ABC, but not on NBC.
What if Hogan invites them to the Gladiators and they play some Powerball? Then
If that happens, if they take on Stealth and Titan, then you're going to have a big
nobody
breakout
can take
hit.
on Titan.
Nah.
Nobody can. That's blasphemous. This discussion's over. Thank you, Eric and Brian, though, for
Thanks.
keeping us in the
Thank
loop. I
you.
appreciate it, guys.